Pop Goes to the Library, Episode 4. Music playing. Pop goes the library. Pop goes the library. And singing. Ready? Okay. Eric. Hey guys. This is Pop Goes to the Library. The pop culture podcast for the St. Mary's County Library System. My name is Mr. Eric. Tess. And I'm Miss Tess. Eric. This is episode 4, right? Yeah, guys, listeners, if we sound a little giddy, something big happened this weekend. This Saturday, this October 1st. Tess. It was LexiCon. Eric. LexiCon, con. It was our Comic-Con that we put on. You and I and a bunch of other people. And was it successful? Tess. It was super successful, I think. Eric. Yeah? How many people did we have? Tess. You tell me. It was like over 200 people. Eric. It was over 200 people. I don't know the exact number. Tess. Oh, okay. Eric. We mentioned this a couple episodes ago. We had a cosplay contest, and we had over 34 applicants. Tess. And they looked really awesome. Eric. Very awesome. Tess. I was a judge in the contest, and it was really hard. Eric. It was very official. Like you guys had. Things that you were grading them on, and there was even a viewer's choice award. Tess. And how about that MC? Eric. That MC was pretty good. I mean, he couldn't remember numbers. He couldn't remember a lot of things, but I heard he was pretty good. Tess. It was Eric. Laughter. Eric. It was me. I did the same thing I do my entire life, where I make mistakes, but I laugh at myself, so everyone says, this guy is lovable. He doesn't know what he's doing. This is perfect. But yeah, it was very successful. The 501st did show up. We had a stormtrooper walking around. Tess. He was awesome. Eric. He was very cool. Apparently, he lived right down the street from us. I was asking him, Tess, you never know when your neighbor might be a stormtrooper. Eric, yeah. He was even like, I just live right down the street. And I was like, oh, thank you, sir. I should have got his address. I should have been like, hey, buddy, Mike. Tess. Was his name Mike? Eric. I never got it. To be honest, I have no clue. I thought I had a good chance. But it was very, very awesome. Tess. Do we want to talk about highlights? What were your top highlights? Eric. The cosplay contest was pretty awesome. Can I count a highlight as everyone showing up? All the vendors showed up. All of our podcasting groups were really good. Your podcasting panel was really awesome. Tess, that was my highlight. I had a really awesome time at our podcast panel, and I want to give a shout out to our podcast panelists. Charles and Mike from the DC Film Life, they were awesome. And we had Justin and Colin from Castwave Studios. Eric, yeah, BGN Podcast, which I found out stands for Boldly Goes Nowhere. Tess, Boldly Going Nowhere. And they also have Boldly Going Nowhere Comic Shop. And it's just about comics. They have lots of comics. Eric, if you go to castwave.com, there are a ton of them. Tess, I think it's Castwave Studios. Eric, Castwave Studios? Oh, okay. Cool. Tess, and they were awesome. I don't know why I'm surprised, because podcasters tend to be really good at speaking. Eric, yeah, they're like, just ask us some questions. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Tess, they were just really cool and professional and had great answers. And I was so impressed. And then I was like, wait a second, why am I surprised? Eric, very cool. Did you get a chance to poke into the comic panel? Tess, I didn't. How did it go? Eric, it went really well. We had Carl Yonder and Dan Noakes, who are semi-local. I think Dan Noakes lives in the area, but Carl Yonder was coming from faraway lands. Tess, yonder, yonder, yonder. Eric, yonder, yonder, yonder. But the panel went really well. It actually worked out really well because they're both very different people as far as how they got to comics, and I think just differences in personality. Like, they just seem like different guys, but it went really well. Carl was like an art student, and he wanted to do art, like paintings and stuff. And then he was like, comics are just a bunch of little paintings. It was awesome. They were funny though, because they gave kind of similar advice that your podcasting groups gave. They said, because I asked them, what advice do you have for people that want to get into comic books? And they said, if you can think of anything that you can make funny from, that you think you would enjoy, do that instead. Laughter. Yeah, they were very serious. Tess, that sounds serious. Eric. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Tess. The podcasters also said that this isn't going to make you famous. And Mike, particularly from Charles and Mike, mentioned how he wanted to be a broadcaster. And he thought he went to broadcasting school and would immediately get a job in radio, and discovered that there are like no jobs in radio. And that I know my husband Brett wanted to work in radio, and he did work in radio for many years, but it's a very difficult industry to work in and to get in. So yeah, podcast for fun. Eric, yeah, podcast for fun. Also, don't sweat the little stuff, like, 2 episodes of pointing the mic at our feet. Laughter. Tess, we're moving on. Eric, we're moving on. Yeah, but Lexicon was a success. If you happen to be there and you're listening, send us an email at poplibra@stma.org. Tess, stmalib.org. Eric, oh, boom. Okay. Tess, yeah. And if you weren't there, you could still email us. Eric checks the email pretty much 27 times a day. Eric, yeah, I haven't received anything. Just updates from Apple. Did you know there's a new iPhone coming out soon? Tess, speaking of iTunes, did you know that we're on iTunes, that we're on Stitcher? Go ahead and download us on all the places and give us reviews, but only if you like us. Eric, if you don't like us, that's okay too, but just do a verbal review, like to the winds. Tess, or you can send us an email about that. You can send us hate mail. Eric, yeah, that sounds better. I would love to accept some hate mail. Music playing. Break time. Break time. Don't go away. We're coming back now. And music playing. Eric, hey Tess, what are we talking about today besides lexicon? Tess, so today's topic is things that we like that maybe not so many people have onboarded with yet. So we're doing, this is the Discovery Zone podcast. Eric, it's not necessarily things that aren't popular, like in the world, these are just things that we wish, in general, every person can enjoy. Tests. Basically, if you've read a book, if you've watched a movie, or if you're watching a TV show, and you have no one to talk to about it, and you were like, why aren't more people enjoying this thing that I'm enjoying currently? That's what our podcast is about today. Me and Eric's things that we wish more people will discover. We're going to be plugging a bunch of stuff we like. Eric, yeah, if there's anything you guys think sounds great, there's probably a building or some kind of system where all you need is a card and you can check out a bunch of materials. Ah, libraries! Laughter. Yeah, they're probably there, and basically, everything we mention will be in the show notes for this podcast. Tess. Yeah, they will be in the show notes, so you can check out all the things that we're about to tell you about that we think are amazing, that we want you to read and watch and listen to. Eric. Let me say, the reason I mentioned it doesn't have to be things that no one has heard of, because we got to this idea from Hamilton, right? Tess. Yeah, right. Hamilton. That should be our first thing. Eric. You're doing your gazelle face again. Laughter. So much gazelle face. Hamilton. Tess. Hamilton brings out the gazelle face in me. Eric. Not the gazelle. But yeah, I can't get enough of it, right? Tess. It's a cultural phenomenon, but I know so many people who don't want to listen to it. Eric. Now, this is a no judge free zone. Oh, wait. No judge free, no judging zone, which makes it a no judge zone. Tess, which makes it a judgment free zone. Eric. There it is. Tess. Zone of no judging. Eric. Yes, this is a zone of no judging. Welcome to the zone of no judging. So if you don't like Hamilton, that's perfectly fine. But we're here to tell you all the reasons why you'll probably like it if you gave it a chance. First off, if you said, oh, I won't like Hamilton because I don't like hip-hop, that's fine. It's just not correct, right? I mean, it kind of transcends hip-hop. Tess. I think if you have even a passing interest in hip-hop, Broadway, or American history, then you should definitely give Hamilton a try. Eric. I would say even more, and I'm ready to see that gazelle face, that if you even have an interest in great storytelling, I mean, it is phenomenal, you know? Tess. And you can get the CD at the library. You can get the CD on Hoopla. You can download it digitally. So you have no excuse to not enjoy it. Laughter. Eric. I mean, I get it. I think a part of it too, if someone hears that something's very popular, they could be like, why? I don't want to watch this. everyone else likes it. I mean, I had a friend that was very like, oh, everyone thought whatever's awesome, so I'm gonna rebel against it. But it is amazing. Tess, whenever people tell me, oh, I don't want to listen to Hamilton, I always want to ask them, what do you have against happiness and joy? Because, Eric, well, I don't know if it's happiness. Tess, I'm pretty happy that Hamilton is in my life. I'm not saying that the entire story is happy, because if you know anything about Alexander Hamilton, spoiler alert, he got killed. Eric, he got gunned down. Tess, yeah, he did. And so the whole story isn't happy, but I think you will be happy person when you listen to it, because the music is so wonderful, the story and the writing is so great. All of the actors who are on the cast album are flippin' amazing. Eric, it's like, it's funny, and the themes repeat themselves, but in different ways. Okay, for example, spoiler if you haven't listened to it, but it's not that big a deal. You know how the biggest song is I'm Not Gonna Throw Away My Shot, right? It's a great pump up jam, but then I realized that's exactly what he did. At the very end, during the duel, he throws away his shot on purpose and he gets killed. And not only that, but his he gets his son to do it too. Man, Tess, it's deep. Eric, it's super deep. Tess, it's a intense story. I would not recommend listening to it for the first time on public transportation, because that's what I did. And it was just full on sobbing on a bus. Eric, it gets emotional. Tess, it does get emotional. It's very emotional. It pulls at the heartstrings. And I'm sitting there thinking, how can I just be listening to some people rapping about the founding fathers, and yet this we can get these feels, but it happens. Eric, I think it I think we have to specify though, it's not all rap and hip hop, you know? I think that's like the bullet point on the box. That's what makes it unique and all that. But it isn't. I hate to call it regular singing, but there's non-rap music in there. It's great, you know? Tess. Yeah, it's really great. So listen to Hamilton. Check. Eric, please, please listen to Hamilton. And tell us what you think. If you don't like it, explain to us why you don't. We would be happy to read it on the podcast. And we would not be mean, because we're librarians. There are mean librarians out there. Tess. Not us, though. Eric. Not us. Have you ever seen Monsters University? Tess. Yeah. Eric. Do you remember that their librarian is basically a giant octopus woman that when you make noises, she will literally grab you and throw you out of the building? That is not us. Tess, she does not work here. Laughter. Eric, not anymore. Yeah, I thought that Hamilton was like the obvious one, right? Tess. Here's one that I think has gotten a lot of critical attention and awards and accolades, but I don't personally know a lot of people that are reading it, and I want more people to read it. And if you're listening to this, you should listen to Saga. Eric, Saga, Tess, by Brian K. Vaughan, and, oh, it's a graphic novel series. It's basically Romeo and Juliet in space, but better than that. Eric, I'm not current with Saga, but I read the first 3 or 4 trades, and I really dig it. I think it's awesome. Tess, yeah. Eric, that's my go-to. If there's someone I know that is like, I don't like graphic novels, I say, why don't you give this a shot? Because just like Hamilton, I think it transcends hip-hop, right? This transcends graphic novels. It's just a way of telling a great story. Tess, the writing's really great. The art is amazing. I don't think there's anything Fiona Staples can't draw. Eric, and I didn't know you were going to say Saga, but I think she's drawing for Archie right now, isn't she? Tess, she either is currently or was very recently. Yeah. Eric. And I think Brian K. Vaughan is he writing for Paper Girls? Tess, he is writing for Paper Girls. Eric, there it is! Oh my god! Tess, another fun one you should read and check out, especially if you like 80s nostalgia, science fiction, kids on bikes, kinda like if you like Stranger Things, you should. Eric, did you finish Stranger Things? Tess, I love Stranger Things. Eric, hey, can we mention Stranger Things? Tess, I want to talk about it, but that's not available at the library currently. If you're listening to this in the future, you can get it probably at the library. Eric, and you know what? You know what? You can Netflix it. We won't be mad at you. Tess, but you do know what we do have at the library? The soundtrack to Stranger Things. Eric, oh my god, so much 80s. So much 80s. Tess, it's like 80s synth, pop, horror, suspense, amazingness. So if you just want to listen to some cool music, you could get the Stranger Things soundtrack. Eric, I didn't realize we had the soundtrack. Tess, oh yeah, yeah. The person that buys music for the library is very cool. Eric, I heard that she's really good at her job. Tess, it's me. Laughter. Eric, we just got a podcast so we can just brag about ourselves. So, Lexicon was amazing. We're amazing. Yeah, Stranger Things is great. And Saga, I completely agree, is amazing. I just haven't stayed current with it. So, Tess, do you have one that you would like to shout out? Eric, Oh, do I have something that I would like to shout out? Something that here's the deal. I think a lot of people are into this, but I just discovered Steven Universe recently. Tess. See, now I haven't watched that, so tell me all about it, Eric. Okay, so here's the deal. Steven Universe is a young boy in what I think is Beach City, and he's living in a house with three crystal gems, which are these magical aliens from space. His mom was a crystal gem, but when she gave birth to Steven, she gave up her physical form for him to exist in the world. It's really kind of hazy, but it's really kind of goofy funny, but then it gets really kind of serious in a way I think a lot of shows, cartoon or otherwise, can learn from. It's really good with um, character relationships and dealing with very real issues in very awesome ways. I just can't describe it, but his dad, Greg, owns a car wash, lives in his van, and he used to be amazing. Like back when he met Rose, Steven's mom, he had his own one man electric guitar band, and he had this long flowing hair. It's beautiful, and he fell in love with him. But now that he's bald on top, and he keeps it really long, like on the sides, and he constantly has a farmer's tan for some reason. Although it bothers Amanda, because he has these tan lines, but he never wears the shirts that matches the tan lines, so it doesn't make sense. I just can't describe it because it's just amazing, and more people should enjoy it. Tess. It's an animated TV show. Eric. Yeah, it's a cartoon show that is on Cartoon Network. We do have some of the episodes at the library. Tess. Is it for kids? Eric. It is for kids. It is a children's show. If anyone is familiar with, have you ever watched Adventure Time? Tess. No. Silence. Eric. So if anyone watches Adventure Time, laughter. Tess. Is that another show that people should watch? Eric. Judge-Free Zone. It's similar to Adventure Time in tone, but it handles the real stuff better. Tess. I do watch My Little Pony. Friendship is Magic, with semi-frequency. And that's a show that I really respect, being made for children, and yet every episode is about basically getting along with people that are different from you. And every episode, the ponies have to solve some kind of social problem. Like, there was a miscommunication, or, oh, you said something that hurt my feelings, and now I'm holding it against you, and now we have to fix it. It's just really amazing. It says right there in the title, Friendship is Magic, but it's a show about friendship and things that you can learn from it, and how everyone could be friends even if we're different. So I've always thought that there was this undertone under these neon ponies with these really deep, intense writing that's going on in the lessons of the show. And really, what a wonderful time we live in. Eric, we live. Can we just take a moment to realize that we live in a golden age? All joking aside, right? Like, I never thought, and I know this is a tangent, I never thought we would live in a world where there's a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and that it would be awesome, right? Tess. I know, when I heard that the Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be a movie, I thought, you have got to be kidding me. Eric, I know. How are you going to do this? Tess, do they know that there is a talking tree and a raccoon that shoots people? But it was amazing. It was great. Yeah. Oh, Eric. Yeah, it was great. And also, nothing old is gone forever. I mean, just recently, X-Files came back for a little bit, and that's just one example. Did I ever think I would live in a world where there was a Full House sequel, essentially? Are you kidding me? Fuller House? You know, it's just magic. Anything can happen. Hopefully, The Matrix one day. Tess, it's gonna come back. Eric, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. I never watched My Little Pony. I've watched a few episodes, not enough to know the characters. But I really dug it, you know? But you should probably give Steven Universe a shot, though. Tess, okay, I will. Eric, this is great. Watch the first 5, because it kind of jumps around. Back in the day, oh no, I'm gonna sound old. Back in the day, TV shows, in the first episode, you know who the characters are and what they're doing, but now, they just throw them in, and you gotta figure it out. That's kind of what it's like. But Amanda likes it, so... Tess. Well, there you go. Speaking of TV shows where you have to figure everything out, there's this TV show called Preacher. Have you watched this TV show? Eric. Oh, yeah. I watched the first 4 or 5 episodes. Tess. And did you know what was going on? Eric. Aliens? Demons? Tess. It's a really amazing TV show that when I talk to people about it, no one is watching it. So I have no one to talk to about it. Eric, I can talk to you about the first 5 episodes. Tess, if you're listening, you should check it out. It's basically this guy who is a preacher in a small Texas town. He acquires a supernatural ability to tell people to do things, and then they do things. And with this great power comes great responsibility. And he kind of has to decide how he's going to use this newly acquired talent that he discovered. You know, he obviously wants to do good things with it because we trust our preachers to do good things. But he's got kind of a dark side, a dark past that you learn about over the course of the series. Eric. He's really good at beating people up, brutally. Tess. Yeah. It's based on a graphic novel series, which we also have the books at the library, if you want to check them out, and then check out the TV show. Although, I'm told they don't really correspond with each other, that apparently the TV show is almost like a prequel to the graphic novel, Eric, which is a cool idea. I really like that. Tess, because I guess with the graphic novel audience, you can kind of jump into things, and people are already going with it. Whereas with a TV show, you kind of have to ease people into it and kind of introduce the characters and get people invested, and then people want to know what's going on next. So that's what the TV show accomplishes. Eric. I dug what I watched of it. So I thought the advertisement for Preacher was really weird because I thought it was about a preacher who lost his way, which it kind of is, but that story isn't appealing to me, right? That's not very interesting. But Amanda watched the first episode. And she was like, "You would like this." And I don't even remember how it opened, but it's ridiculous. Tess. Oh, it's bizarre. Eric. I think someone explodes and there's a fight on a plane and it's nuts. And then I was like, you're right. I am into this. I like things that are ridiculous. We might as well have fun while we're watching a TV show. But I didn't stay with it, but I really dug it. Tess. Yeah, it's great. Eric. Speaking of which, speaking of which, to go back to how you mentioned this is a prequel and not a scene-by-scene remake of the graphic novel, I think that's a really smart way to do adaptions, actually. Not to talk about Magicians again, but the Magicians TV show basically takes inspiration from the book series, but, and I told you this earlier, it kind of sets it up because the book series has to do with alternate timelines. You can just assume that the TV show is just one of those many timelines, you know? They even mentioned once, what's the girl's name? Margot. Margot was on the TV show. What was the name in the book? Tess. In the book, her name is Janet. Eric. Did you... Thank you! Did you catch that in this show they called her Janet once? The librarian or whatever? Tess. Yeah. And she was like, that's not my name. And the librarian was like, not this time. Eric. Yeah. And when that happened, I was like, clearly they fit it in the fiction somehow. Tess. Yeah, it is interesting. It's sort of like the TV show True Blood is inspired by these vampire romance novels by Charlene Harris. But basically, they just took novel characters from the novels and just did whatever they wanted to do with it. Eric. I think that's fine, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess there's pros and cons, but to me, I don't want to. I mean, there's a lot of, with the DC animated movies that are based on known comic series, and people get upset when things get changed. And to me, I think, as long as it's fun and entertaining, you can change it. But if you change it and it doesn't make any sense, like, word on the street, I didn't watch it, but the Killing Joke animated movie that came out recently, apparently they added in that Batman and Batgirl had a relationship, which isn't true in the comic series, and I don't really know, without watching it, why they would do that. I mean, that's kind of a big deal, right? Tess, yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. Eric, I don't know how I feel about that either. And a lot of people don't know how they feel about that either. Because to me, it's great on its own. Haha. Laughter. Listeners, my mom's waving at me from the window, and she's walking away. Tess. Hi, Miss Shamaries. Eric. Oh, she's divorced. It's Miss Cameron. Tess. Oh, sorry. Eric. Oh, that was a close one. Anyway, so those are things that, oh, I've got one for you. This is your first surprise, Tess. So, listeners, when Tess and I were setting up, I told her I had two surprises for her. One is a physical surprise that I'm going to give her in the next episode, and one is an information surprise. Now, this is weird. I'm going to say what I think something you want more people to be into, and it may not have been on your list. And I'm going to tell you why it is, because I started watching it yesterday. RuPaul's Drag Race Tess. Oh, I love it, Eric. I just started watching it with Amanda, and I gotta tell you, it's pretty awesome, Tess. It's pretty amazing, Eric. I know. So I'm watching it, and I thought it would be like, Tess, what season are you watching? Eric. Okay, so here's the deal. So I'm watching it off of, hopefully my library card doesn't get revoked, because I'm not watching it from the library. I'm watching it on Hoopla. And the oldest season they had, I wanted to start with number 1, but the oldest season they had was season 4. Tess, season 4 is amazing, Eric. Season 4 starts with the Rupocalypse. Tess, it does, with Sharon Needles, her outfit. Eric, I know. Like the monster one, right? It's something like out of Silent Hill. So I'm watching it, and there's two things. One, I thought it would be like Project Runway, but just with